Hello, everyone. It's Gunnar. Gunnar here with our Star Command Transmission 11 out of a lot of transmissions coming through. This transmission will be especially potent. I'm not totally sure what's going to come through, but just to give you a background, I am a channel. I connect to my higher self. I normally live from that space. I do get sidetracked. I still have an ego. I'm still here on planet Earth, but about 6 years ago, I was in such a deep depressive state that I finally just turned my life over to God. And each and every day, I got stronger and stronger, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And I felt like through meditation, yoga, and divine experience, I was able to fully connect to my higher self. It's important also to recall that even before the depression, when I was 21, I actually had a pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary embolism. Well, an embolus is like a little fatty blockage, and pulmonary means lung. So that blockage went into my lungs. I was in the hospital for about a week. Definitely thought, well, I didn't know what to think, but very scary. I thought I was going to die. And I do think that part of me did die. In the hospital, I was given some morphine, pretty standard procedure in the ER, and it was an insane experience. All of a sudden, my vision just started clouding, going purple, and I called the nurse over. And I said, "Hey, I need help. Something's going on here." And she gave me some other form of medication to relieve that symptom. But after that, my life was changed. When I got out of the hospital, all of a sudden, I couldn't stop talking about being in service to humanity. That was like, okay, a 21-year-old. I wanted to be in service. And that was purely from my heart. I wanted to serve and give back to people and do the absolute most that I possibly could in this life. So I consider this a yes life, i.e. meaning whatever my heart and my highest self is calling for, I'm going to do my best to follow and proceed on that mission, on that life mission. Okay, so nothing's going to hold me back to achieve and fulfill my life purpose in this vessel known as Gunnar. That's a yes life right there, and that's power. That's the true source of power and inspiration, is following divine guidance, following divine intuition. Okay, so that's a little background. Let's go ahead and invite spirit in now, even though it's here. But if you're watching live or in a later time frame, go ahead, just shut your eyes for a moment. Take a few breaths just to gather and come into your body, into the present moment. So I'm inviting spirit in, just becoming a little bit more empty, hollow vessel, as I call in the benevolent forces of the universe to facilitate this transmission for all those who are listening and all those who are listening in the ether as well, in the collective. All right. So let's go in. It's important also to note that I normally don't really know what they want to talk about, or they as in the other beings and my higher self in conjunction. I just got the God nod, the God nudge to do this. So probably a little bit for my ego just to send it and trust. And that seems to be a part of the transmission as well. So let's dive into trust a little bit. Yeah, so I'm just being seen, Jesus here, our divine guidance, just walking across the water. And his message, I'll actually refrain from saying his, we'll saying the message is one of inspiration, of one of doing the impossible. So right now, the collective experience seems to be, I'm not really sure, but it seems to be very hopeless, very drastic, and very, I want to say, fearful. And so this is a reminder of the power that you hold within, and that power that you have that maybe you haven't quite accessed yet. It may have come in spurts and bits and waves, but it's now time to fully access that power. So let's talk about that. How do we access divine guidance, divine power? How do we truly do that? Well, we start and end by loving one another. It's as simple as that. We start by loving ourselves. Without love, none of this is possible. None of what Jesus is saying, walking on water, turning water into wine, yada, 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 floating, levitating, none of it is possible without love. So we start by loving ourselves. We need to pull our energy back from the external. We've been mutilated and mutated. Our perception has gone out to the external, and we think the external fulfills, but really, in one truth, it's the internal. So we need to turn our attention back inwards via the insular cortex of the brain. That's internal attention, awareness, non-demanding, non-threatening. Somatosensory cortex is external. We want to go insular cortex. And there is obviously a time and place for the somatosensory. We're just going to focus a little bit more on the insular, internal focus and awareness on this transmission. So try that now. And maybe you didn't even know that you could bring your attention to things. Maybe you didn't even realize that. So bring your attention inwards. And you can start by bringing your attention to your body. And just noticing, what does it feel like to be in your body? So you can play around a bit and kind of scan the body, do all sorts of really, really amazing things that, again, we probably won't get to in this transmission. But take a few more breaths, and as you have your attention on your body, really make sure that the attention is non-demanding and non-threatening. So there's a bit of curiosity and discovery in the attention. And just noticing any feelings or sensations that arise. And the emotions and the feelings and sensations are very watery in nature, are very flowing. It's called emotion, energy in motion. And so just let them flow. They'll ebb and flow. There might be maybe some of the more denser emotions like anger or fear. But just let those flow, acknowledge them and notice them, and they might just begin to transition and shift. I can even feel it in my body, that ebb and the flow. And this is really a little bit more connecting the left hemisphere, right hemisphere. Maybe you've heard of that before. It's a key process in meditation, important to connect the left, quote-unquote, logical or masculine hemisphere to the right, feminine, more cosmic, artsy hemisphere. And you do that through the corpus callosum, the interconnected bridge, intercommissional bridge of those hemispheres. You'll start to feel it. Both brains light up, both hemispheres of brain light up, and you clarity begins to come through your third eye, your one eye. So that's another, unfortunately, devastatingly painful perception of the reality, is that we see through two eyes. We see two, always polarity, always me versus you versus me, them over there. It couldn't be further from the truth, which is simply that we are all one being. Even the quote unquote bad actors are still a part of the universe and still have a role to play. So I'm being guided, a little bit nudged, to talk about the bad actors. This is something that came in big for me. Actually, it's a massive transmission. Massive perception switch that came in for me just last night. I want to dive into this. This is surrounding the bad actors, but let's bring our attention more to our personal lives, and let's talk about the quote-unquote bad actors in our lives first. So the people that maybe piss you off, maybe you've gotten hurt by them. There could be some really severe, honestly, trauma. So you probably feel that catch and instantly come up to the body already, even just thinking about it. But then, since we did a little bit of presence, you'll notice it. Don't fight it. Notice it. Okay? So this message, this transmission, is a reminder that number one, you chose this life. You planned this life out from the very beginning on a soul level. And maybe that strikes a tune. Oh no, I don't believe in that. That's okay. You don't have to ever listen to this again. But if that really speaks to you, then that's probably a truth for you. Try that on. If that doesn't feel right, hey, okay, great. If it does, which it's likely that it does if you're still listening. First, you chose this and planned this, and second of all, you have a choice right now of how you want to see your life and the situation that all of us are experiencing. It's an individual consciousness. This is an individual sovereignty. So these bad actors in our lives are actually still God. This is what came through. They're God in their hooded cloaks. It's God disguised in a hooded cloak. And that may be a pretty big perception switch for you. I hope it was, because it was pretty massive for me to not fight those hooded cloaks, the hooded cloak people in my life and in the collective, but to recognize why they are there. Recognize why they are, because everything in existence is in divine harmony. It is perfect. This is a manifestation planet. It's a co-creative planet with free will and free choice. Therefore, you have the choice. Those people who are especially creating drama, they are choosing that. They are calling that in. They are choosing not to awaken, and they will most likely be removed from the planet. Do I know that for a fact? Hell no. I have no idea truly what's going on. I'm just doing my best to transmit positive light beam, positive life force energy to those who will listen. Okay? So positive life force, positive transmission to those who will listen, which is going to be a pretty grandiose up-leveling. We're rapidly growing, like accelerating beyond time and space. We're moving at superluminal speeds. Whoa, superluminal. Yeah, that's faster than the speed of light. That's possible. You can look that up if you're a research guy or gal. We're moving at superluminal speeds right now. So y'all, give yourself a pat on the back. If you're listening to this, if you're sane, give yourself some love and some recognition, man. This event, this process, this ascension, acceleration for humanity It's never been done before. So the whole entire universe, you got this galactic federation of planets and all these other super beings, other planets, other worlds, dimensions. They're all, a lot of them are watching. Most of them are watching, observing Earth because, whoa, their jaws are dropped. They're shocked at the amount of love and transition that has been possible through love. That's the school. That is the school of Earth, brothers and sisters. The realization of the true possibility of the power of love. That's Bob Marley. Hopefully I don't blow this, but I'm going to try. I believe he says when the love of power, no, when the power of love transcends the love of power, then we will be free. Okay. So let's just recap. So I like to make these pretty short and sweet so we don't get overexerted or overexhausted. Let me just recap. You guys heard my story very briefly. I tune into my highest self. I've been doing that for 6 to 7 years, actually much longer now, unconsciously, but consciously, and tuning in this for about 6-7 years. And that was made possible via actually a pulmonary embolism, a little blockage in my lungs, which enabled me to reevaluate my life and really open up to the higher dimensions and worlds. And I've been studying yoga, qigong, chiropractic. I'm actually in school to become a doctor of chiropractic right now to really bring all this information home in a couple of years. Boy, my practice is going to be sick because we're going to be talking about the source of health, which lies in the level of soul, not the body. It goes soul, mind, emotions, body. So it doesn't make sense to treat the body, though I will treat the body in reference to affect the soul. And when medicine gets a hold of that, we're going to really transcend as a species. So we talked about that. Then we talked about this is the main transmission of the God and a dark hood, God and a dark hood hiding in the streets there. That's still God. You know, that may be one of the last and final initiations and lessons as a ascended being, as a initiate in planet Earth, is to recognize that hooded figure, those quote unquote bad actors, as still being God, and then recognizing that love can transcend that. Okay. And then we talked about also the insular cortex. The ability for our consciousness and our bodily system to bring our awareness to inwards. And we're transitioning from somatosensory out there, external reality, blah, blah, blah. Not saying that doesn't have a purpose. It does. But we want to go to the source. It'd be like, trimming. It'd be like there would be a weed and you're kind of trimming the leaves of the weed instead of you got to yank that root out. So go to the source by bringing your attention inwards. And and then we really connected. We really bonded. I'm getting a nice completion tone. I feel that in my sternum, my chest, and my heart area, and I feel a lot of gratitude for all of those who joined both live and hopefully who will listen. My prayers go out to you and to us as a collective. I do not believe that hope is even necessary because hope would imply that it is not already guaranteed. As in God, certainty, love is not already guaranteed. So exclude fear and hope, these type of things from your vocabulary because it's already guaranteed, brothers and sisters. This is a certainty. If you live in that frequency, it will become a certainty. I guarantee it. I can stamp that. And it would only not when we allow doubt and those fears to come in, which is okay. That's a part of the initiatory program. But when you do get in that space, remember your certainty. Remember that God, love, beingness is a certainty, and that you can withstand anything. You are a pillar of light. We are pillars of light. We hold in this. We're holding this entire dimension for our other brothers and sisters who may not be able to right now. So with that said, namaste. Thank you all for listening.